What's going on, everyone? So I'm pretty excited because we're going to talk about Bossk bounties, Bossk Green today. This is the set 2 deck that I'll be playing, showcasing, and of course, hopefully getting some fat W's with. A lot of you have been enjoying these set 2 deck techs, and honestly, if there was one deck to kind of showcase a lot of the new mechanics and really how they synergize together, Bossk Green is the way to go because he so heavily is boosted up by the bounty mechanics with set 2. So this is a really sweet deck to kind of showcase that. With that said, guys, if you want to pick up any of the set 2 cards, which is becoming closer and closer by the day, be sure to use my TCG player link in the description down below. Let's talk about Bossk. For those of you that don't know what Bossk does, he is a aggression villainy leader that allows you to action exhaust Bossk to deal 1 damage to a unit with bounty, and then if you want to, you can give it +1/+0 for this phase. So this kind of has dual purpose, not necessarily in our deck, but if you wanted to build him this way, you could either deal 1 damage to kind of your own units to give them +1/+0, and that could be relevant in some situations, right, to get in some additional damage, but you have to deal 1 damage to your own units to do that. And so instead, we're kind of using it for the other mode, which is to put bounties on our opponent's units and then deal 1 damage to those units to get them in range for our kind of 2 powered units, or even in some cases, if they play a 4 toughness unit, to kind of shrink them down so that we can guarantee those bounty claims. And in some cases, you can just use this action to straight up kill certain units that we will talk about in just a moment. His flip side is 5 to flip. He's a 4/6, so pretty nice stats. I mean, of course, you can't really compare it to Boba because Boba is an outlier, but 4/6 is above average in terms of what you're looking for on a 5 to flip leader. And says whenever you claim a bounty, you can claim it an additional time, but you can only do it once per turn. So the idea behind this is we kind of do a little bit of ramping into Boba or a Bossk here, and then we claim some bounties, double claim them, and then we set up for the mid to late game. This is what I would classify as more of a mid-range deck. We are a little bit more aggressively slanted in the mid-range category. So the idea is we want to get in some early value to set us up for the mid game and then use our high value cards to kind of close out the game for us. A few things about the list here. Let's talk about the kind of standard cards that you're used to seeing in red green. We have things like Yularen, Shore Trooper as our 2 drops, get something down early on the board, and even though they have 2 power, they almost always will trade with anything because we have bounties to place on our opponent's units to kind of deal the extra damage. The 2 power isn't as, big of a downside, and Seasoned Shore Trooper does become a little bit bigger, and Yularen helps us get to the mid game, especially since we have a lot of 3 drops that are green. We have Super Laser Techs. This helps us get Bossk down a turn early, and having a turn early Bossk is super important to double claim, I should say, those bounties. Star Viper, everyone's used to Star Viper. We have things like Interceptor, give us a little bit of presence in the air. 3 copies of Viper Probe Droid as some earlier plays if we need them. We also have Overwhelming Barrage as just a heavy hitter that everyone's used to seeing. This is just a massive removal event that just clears out the whole board and is especially good with claiming bounties. And we have some top end that you're used to seeing like Emperor Palpatine. Now for the new cards, we have a little bit of a bounty setup. As I mentioned, we can put bounties on our opponent's units, including Guild Target, Bounty Hunter's Quarry, Rich Reward, and arguably the most important one, Price on Your Head, which acts as a resupply. You can go ahead and place it on your opponent's unit. You kill them, you get a resupply essentially, but instead of, coming from your hand, it comes to the top of your deck. We have Guild Target, gives us a little bit of damage, direct damage to our opponent's base. And on a Bossk flip turn, you can do things like Guild Target, attack, hit your base for 6 with Guild Target, kill your unit. That can be an insane turn. Bounty Hunter's Quarry, we have a lot of 3 or less drops in the deck, which allows us to play a bunch of things for free. If you go ahead and get the Bounty Hunter's Quarry on your opponent's unit, you can play like a Super Laser Tech on, turn 2. You can potentially play double Super Laser Tech, right, by Bounty Hunter's Quarry, kill your unit from turn 1. And then Super Laser Tech, and then you play a Super Laser Tech off the Bounty Hunter's Quarry. You can do some insane turns like that. Rich Reward, I only have 1 copy of this because there's not often that we have, a crazy amount of units out. And so this one's a little bit more situational, but this does end up giving some massive power bonuses for just 1 resource. You get 2 experience tokens if you're able to kill, or have 2 units on the battlefield. And then, we have cards that kind of synergize with the rest of the deck. We have 2 copies of Timely Intervention. This gives us a way to, give us some value out of our resource pile, but more importantly, give something ambush, which is really important because we're trying to claim bounties, right? We also have things like Punishing One, which, can ready up again after you defeat an upgraded enemy unit, but we're putting upgrades on our opponent's unit. So boom, Punishing One works really well with bounties. We have things like Crosshair, which, can kind of ping off something. One of the most important ECL targets, which is, the base, because we want to be able to ambush things to claim our bounties. Django Fett, which is a 6/6 on turn 3 that has Overwhelm. And you can go ahead and potentially draw cards with it, which is really strong. We have things like Maul and KRAYT Dragon at the top end, kind of finish out the curve. Arguably, the most exciting card in our whole deck is actually Stolen Landspeeder, okay? So what this does is you pay 1 resource and you play it, but it goes over to your opponent's side of the battlefield. But on turn 1, if we play a Stolen Landspeeder, what we can do is play Stolen Landspeeder, action, deal 1 damage to Stolen Landspeeder because it has bounty. And then the next turn, we can deal 1 damage again with Bossk action to essentially get a 1-costed 4/3 unit, which is pretty sweet. And, we can also potentially go ahead and claim some bounties with it and things like that. So there's a lot of really cool stuff going on with Stolen Landspeeder. And then lastly, we have Chrysanthemum as well as Phase 3 Dark Trooper. Phase 3 Dark Trooper is just a better cell block card. I can't tell you how many times I'll go like turn 1 price on your head, turn 2 ECL out of Phase 3 Dark Trooper. It becomes a 4/1, 4/2, or a 4/2 Sentinel, which is really, really obnoxious to deal with. And we get to kill their units. And Chrysanthemum just becomes a 3/7, always readied up for the most part on turn 4. And it can help us claim some bounties as well and just give us a thick body to deal with. So that's going to be the list, guys. There is a lot of cool stuff going on here, and I hope to showcase some of that in some of our games. Let's not waste any more time and dive into some Bossk bounties. All right, on to our match one. I just want to say shout out to this guy. I wasn't going to record the video here yet because I was going to test out, make sure all the cards function properly on the site. But, well, we chatted a little bit and I figured I'd record the game. Why not? Let's dive into our first one. Hopefully we get some good stuff going. We got a Han green deck, looks like we're fighting against, and this is a little scary, I will say. I played a little bit of Han green myself, played some Han yellow, I've played some double red Han. This card is pretty crazy, I will admit. There we go. It was a little bit slow unloading. Okay, so we have a pretty interesting hand here, actually. So we could go potentially turn 1 Stolen Landspeeder. We can go, pay me turn 1 price on your head, but we kind of have to decide what we want to do immediately. And with this one, we're going to say good luck. I actually don't think Stolen Landspeeder is all that good in this matchup because Han, he's already going to do some damage to his units, so that could actually work to our advantage. But we don't want to give him another unit that can actually hit us, right? Even though we could potentially get it back. This is a matchup where Stolen Landspeeder is probably not going to be that good. And as such, I'm going to go ahead and resource that and rich reward because, well, we're probably going to be trading with a lot of units. The idea here is I'm going to let Han play a unit. I'm going to price on your head it. And then we are probably going to try to ECL Super Laser Tech into it so that we can get a double ramp, which allows us to, get out a really, really early Bossk and try to control the game with an overwhelming barrage Bossk and maybe a Bounty Hunter's Quarry in somewhere here. Okay, that is actually pretty sweet. So I'm just going to price on your head the Maz Kanata. And then if they use up all the resources here, this will be perfect because we can just take initiative and then ECL the Super Laser Tech, as I mentioned, to go ahead and just straight up kill the Maz Kanata and then easily just go ahead and claim. Okay, so they're going to go ahead and, well, deal 1 damage to the, or 2 damage to the A-Wing. The only reason they would do that is if they had another unit to play, because if not, then they wouldn't have, taken the 2 damage on the A-Wing. It's kind of a waste of, damage. So I imagine they're going to have another play here. And if that's the case, dealing 1 damage to Maz Kanata is going to be pretty important so that Super Laser Tech can actually kill it. Okay, they're going to claim initiative. I guess I was wrong in this spot. We're going to go ahead and pass here. And I think I go ahead and resource the KRAYT Dragon, even though we have double Bounty Hunter's Quarry, and that looks a little bit awkward in some spots. I think KRAYT Dragon's still a little bit too expensive for us to really get a ton of value. We'll see what they decide to do here. I imagine just so that their Maz Kanata doesn't immediately die, they're probably going to play a unit as their first action to try to get it out of range of my Bossk ping ability. We'll see. If they do that, then we can, as I said, go with the ECL Super Laser Tech plan. But there's also a consideration to maybe put like a Bounty Hunter's Quarry on an A-Wing and try to ping it that way. Okay. So they're going to go ahead and Maz Kanata here attack in. I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and ECL out a Super Laser Tech and ambush. And check this out. We now have 5 resources. So what we could do here is go ahead and Bounty Hunter's Quarry on the A-Wing, ping it, and then go ahead and claim the bounty. Now, it looks a little bit sad because we aren't going to get the double claim, but we are going to be able to flip Bossk this turn. So that means that it sets up for the next turn. And I would like to go ahead and just ping the A-Wing, even though I'm not going to get the double claim. And if we wait a turn, I could potentially double claim. Because we know the Bounty Hunter's Quarry in hand, I could potentially just double claim Bounty Hunter's Quarry a little bit later. Let's go ahead and play. It's 3 or less here, so we could go ahead and get a Viper Pro Droid or a Phase 3 Dark Trooper. This guy's saying, oh no, Bossk ability. But yes, this is one of the better matchups for me. I would say because of all the damage that Han Solo is doing to his own units. We are just going to really, I think, outpace. We're on 5 resources with a Bossk ready to go. We're going to flip him here. This is a Sentinel. We are going to have a 4/6. We have an OB in hand. We have a Quarry in hand ready to go. It's going to be pretty crazy. All right, looks like they claimed initiative. We're going to go ahead and flip Bossk, hit for 4, and pass the turn. And we have a Maul and Palp, which 2 very good draws. I think in this spot, I actually do want to resource the Palp because I probably will end up playing Maul to try to kill their Han or any other play that they decide to make. And with OB and Bounty Hunter's Quarry, I can Bounty Hunter's Quarry the red 3, OB my Bossk, and just kill it. So that looks to be probably the plan here. And then we're going to double claim that, which means we can do it twice. So that's going to be absolutely sweet. I am hopefully going to just win the game like this turn, basically. That's kind of how it feels. That was an excellent turn. As I mentioned, this matchup's pretty good. ECL can be a little bit scary, but as I mentioned, Stolen Landspeeder, that card is pretty bad. And if we had given that to them early on, then we would have probably been extremely outpaced in this game. So let's go on and just straight up put a Bounty Hunter's Quarry on the red 3 to start us off and see what they decide to do. This is a little bit of a stall tactic because I'm curious what they're going to play. Maybe they play another card so that we can get maximum value from the Overwhelming Barrage. We do have to worry a little bit about space units, but if they deploy any ground units, then we are in extremely good shape. Like, I'm not worried at all because we have a Sentinel and we have a 4/6 and we have Overwhelming Barrage coming down and we have Ball. So it's really all about space. If they could deploy another space unit here, like they can get down, who knows, like a couple of A-Wings, that could be a little scary and we could potentially have a race situation on our hands. But with Overwhelming Barrage, I am pretty confident in kind of our situation here. Looks like they're going to go with the ECL Battlefield Marine, just kind of trade. That seems pretty reasonable to me. We're going to go ahead and just deal 6 damage to the red 3, and I will double claim. We'll go ahead and last here. How do I I guess it's waiting for the other player to choose an instant. I guess another player is trying to choose something. We're gonna go ahead and get a 3-costed unit. I think I want to get a Star Viper here, and then I would like to go ahead and get a Yularen. Pretty nice. Pretty sweet. Double claiming that Bounty Hunter's Quarry. This is crazy good. That was a really good turn. We got, nice way to pressure the skies, and we also got a way to kind of get some little bit more value for our Yularen play, which is nice. Like, we got Yularen down. I'm going to ignore Akbar here. I'm just going to hit base for 6. It feels a little bit weird to waste, a ton of damage here. We also have Maul in hand. Emperor Palpatine, we'll just go ahead and resource the Viper Probe Droid because we are most certainly going to be playing that Maul. A little unfortunate that we couldn't play Yularen first into Star Viper, but I didn't know I was going to hit the Yularen on the second hit, so that's pretty important. And I did want to Star Viper down. I could have taken a Probe Droid or Yularen first and gone with that plan, but I think getting the Star Viper down was pretty important just in case they did have any more space units. But this game should be a complete wrap. Like, we just had a great curve, ECLing out the super laser tech was extremely important, and getting the extra ramp is also incredibly valuable. Here I'm just going to attack base with the Yularen. I'm gonna wait on Maul because Akbar's not going anywhere, and if they end up playing something different that maybe I want to kill with Maul, that could be a consideration. But it's a very good chance I'm just gonna kill the Akbar, right? Because this is a total 7 damage, which means they're going to be up to 18. That means Maul is going to hit for 5 if we hit the Akbar. And that means that, well, we're going to be able to just completely wreck them, which is going to be sweet. They have a Podamarin. Okay. We're just going to hit in for 3. Podamarin can be a little bit scary, right? This thing can do 2 damage, defeat upgrades, discard cards. That can be pretty scary, but we're just going to go ahead and hit their base over and over again, which is pretty nice. Here, I actually could make Bossk take all of the damage from Maul. And I think I will do that just because Maul is a little bit more important than Bossk at this point. Let's see if they decide they're going to go ahead and hit you, Lauren. Okay, we're going to go ahead and Maul. I will ambush, kill, and I'll have Bossk take the damage, which is pretty nice. Yeah, bounties are OP. I had a nice hand. So yeah, that was a pretty sweet hand. We have Palp in hand, Stolen End Speeder. We could even potentially go ahead and try to ambush something if we, didn't have like a Palp in hand, if we had something else. But I mean, this game is a wrap. We have 3 lethal threats. We also have a Palp in hand. Like, there isn't really anything that they could do at this point. They can attack my, Maul with Podamarin and then deal 2 damage to like a Bossk and make us discard if they wanted to. Then that's about as good as they could do. Podamarin's pretty great. 5 resource, 6/6 is pretty crazy, especially if you can ECL it out, right? One of the stronger ones you can ECL out because you can just go ahead and get some massive value. Yeah, Bossk. Looks like they are passing. We're gonna go to end the game, and that is going to be the end of the first game. I mean, that was a pretty clean game. I will say this is a good matchup. As I mentioned earlier on, we do have to be a little bit careful because they can be very aggressive, but Han doing damage to your own units is exactly what we're looking for, right? We're trying to ping them down, and they have the Maz Kanata, which we could just kind of kill off. They dealt 2 damage to their A-Wing, which we can finish off the Bounty Hunter's Quarry. We got to double trigger Bounty Hunter's Quarry on the Red 3, and it kind of was everything that we wanted, right? We had a turn 2 Bossk. That's pretty crazy. That's exactly what we're looking for. And that's exactly why Super Laser Tech and Price on Your Head are in the deck, so that we can actually claim double bounties and not worry about Bossk getting outsized or just, absolutely murdered by like a turn 5 Podamarin. Looks like they want to go for a rematch. Why not? Let's go ahead and go for another game. All right, on to our match number 2. We did actually do a rematch against that Han Green player, but there were some issues with the cards, and we're not going to bully in this hand. And we got wrecked by Wrecker is what happened. We're going to go to resource a KRAYT Dragon and a Crosshair. And ideally, our opponent has a play. We're going to Price on Your Head, and then we're going to ECL out the Phase 3 Dark Trooper. If they have nothing, I'm not a huge fan of where we're at, but okay, they took Price on Your Head, which we drew into Colonel Yularen. Seems reasonable, but turn 1 Bazine Natal is not really that scary at all, to be honest. But that was a pretty sweet draw, I'm not going to lie. We have Emperor Palpatine, Chrysanthemum, I think might be the resource here, or it could be one of these 3 drops. I kind of like Phase 3 Dark Trooper. We can potentially ECL this out if we'd like to, but I think in this spot, I just play it normally because we kind of want to save our ECL for something a little bit more exciting. We're going to go and play Phase 3 Dark Trooper, and if they want to attack, then that's fine. Looks like they're going to rich reward the Phase 3 Dark Trooper. I'm just going to attack into their base here for 2, and we're going to see what they decide to do. They're going to claim initiative. Okay. And we have Jango Fett, which can be ECL'd out potentially. But we also have just an Imperial Interceptor. I think in this spot, I'm just going to resource the Jango Fett. It seems like a pretty weak hand, to be honest, overall. They're going to go ahead and, okay, hit my Phase 3 Dark Trooper. which looks pretty good. And they're going to get some experience over there, which also is pretty good. We're going to go ahead and Imperial Interceptor, hit their thing for 2. And we go ahead and let's see. Probably Boba Fett's armor as well. Okay, that is a pretty insane Boba Fett, not gonna lie. That is absolutely crazy. So we're gonna have to figure out a way to deal with that, to be honest, and it is not looking all that great because our Bossk doesn't really do much damage to it. I suppose Overwhelming Barrage can deal 3 to it. That's pretty crazy, actually. I think we get rid of Jango Fett here. And I think we just have to kind of, if we deploy Bossk, then they can just kill it. Wow, this is brutal. Yeah, Boba Fett's armor, as you can see here, is ridiculous. I think we just have to hit in for 2 and just see what they decide to do. And a Cloud Rider. Ooh, Cloud Rider. What a hand from our opponent. Cloud Rider kills our Yularen. We get to go ahead and flip Bossk, at least at this point, which is kind of nice. Okay, they're going to deal some damage. Reasonable. Let's go ahead and, I suppose, just Overwhelming Barrage. We can hit it for 4. Doesn't quite kill Boba Fett. We can also Kersantin ECL'd. Huh. That's a tricky one. I'm going to Overwhelming Barrage and deal 6 damage, which deals 4 to Boba Fett. And then I think I just hit their base for 6. And we just claim initiative here. And guild target Emperor Palpatine as our draws. Not super exciting, I will be honest. Okay, I think we resource probably just a Phase 3 Dark Trooper. And then I think we ECL out the Kersantin. Let's go ahead and ambush the Boba Fett. And now we can kill the other Boba Fett potentially. But if they want to trade here, then that's fine. Let's go ahead and hit the Imperial Interceptor. Boba Fett's armor was gross. Absolutely just gross. We're going to claim initiative here. I want to keep the guild target in hand for something like this, where we can Kersantin off of that and actually ready it up, which is going to be super useful. Perfect. So we get to go guild target on, well, yeah, guild target on the super laser tech. Kersantin, which readies up immediately. And then we can just go ahead and, I suppose, hit their base for 3. Now we have 2 lethal threats. I suppose we may as well just do 1 damage to the super laser tech. And then this should wrap up the whole game. This should wrap up the entire game. We have 2 lethal threats. We have an Emperor Palpatine. But change of heart, not really going to do it. And that's going to be game 1 against Boba Yellow or Boba Green. Ooh, that Boba Fett was a little bit scary. They want a quick rematch? You know what? Let's go ahead and run it back. This was a pretty fun little game here. We have a rich reward. We have a Star Viper. We have a super laser tech. I think we could do a little bit better. I'm going to go ahead and mulligan that. Okay. A little bit more reasonable. I'm going to go and get rid of our very expensive plays and probably just get down a Yularen here and then just see what they decide to do. Cloud Rider, all right, that's fine. I'm fine if they want to trade off of our early units here. All right, a little bit awkward, to be honest. A couple bounties, and this can definitely happen with this deck. They're going to resupply. That was the worst case scenario for us. Stolen Landspeeder looking pretty weak here. I guess we're just going to go with some bounties. Another resupply? Or no. We get to go take our first action. Okay, they're going to recruit. They get a TIE Vanguard. I mean, we can't really play anything here. Cloud Rider. That is perfect. That is exactly what we're looking for. We're just going to start putting some bounties down, and that's going to look pretty nice for us here. Put it on the Outland TIE Vanguard as well, because this allows us to deal damage to the Vanguard, claim our bounty, and potentially play something pretty nice. Seasoned Shore Trooper would be a 2/3. I suppose the Phase 3 Dark Trooper will deal 3 damage to this, which could be nice. Yeah, we'll just kind of make sure that we are not taking as much damage as we can. Timely Intervention, that could be nice. Could be nice. We can't Timely Intervention anything yet, so I think we should just put it in our resource pile for now. And if we can, it would be quite nice to actually go ahead and double claim these bounties with Bossk. Oh, a Darksaber. Okay. That's a little scary. That's going to go ahead and give that Boba Fett just an immense amount of power. Oh, we are going to double claim. And we cannot double claim that one, so we may as well just claim it a single time. And we're going to claim initiative. They're going to price on your head, and we hopefully draw something nice here. We have a lot of resources. I think we just resource a Chrysanthemum. We could play an Emperor Palpatine, potentially. I think we just attack their base and see what they decide to do. Strafing Gunship. Ooh, that was pretty nice. But we get to go ahead and deal some damage to each of them, so that is nice. We get to do 2 here and 4 here, which allows us to actually kill off their Boba Fett here. Stolen Landspeeder, not looking that great. It's not really that great unless you draw it turn 1. It's kind of what we're looking at here. Yeah, I think that we just go ahead and Overwhelming Barrage, and we deal 8 damage to this thing. I actually want to keep my Emperor Palpatine around. And now if they ambush, great, we get to kill their Vader, which could potentially be super, super nice. Okay, they are going to ambush, and we're going to attack as well. Probably, yeah, we're going to go ahead and guild target here. And then we're going to go ahead and attack their base for 8, play a Chrysanthemum, and then hit the Super Laser Tech and claim the bounty. And yeah, I mean, we don't need to ECL quite yet. We don't need to resource anything. And that turn where we double price in your head into 3 additional resources is extremely valuable. All right, they're gonna do some damage here. Get another Super Laser Tech, probably ambush my Palp. We get to go ahead and Bounty Hunter's Quarry, and then just ping the Vader, which is going to be super nice. So let's just go ahead and straight up do that. Deal 1 damage, and let's go ahead and see what we get to get. Ooh, Punishing One looks pretty nice. We can get a Super Laser Attack. I think Punishing One is probably the most valuable. So we're going to go ahead and Imperial Interceptor kill, Imperial Viper Probe Drive, that'll resupply, and a Boba Fett, and then we get to actually just kill this straight up, and then go ahead and hit them for 3 with the Punishing One because they had an experience token on it. So that looks really nice. And well, I mean, we are in a great spot. I mean, we just have a bunch of units on the battlefield, and we're going to probably defeat them. Darksaber was very scary for a second there, but honestly, not extremely scary when your opponent is, only playing Boba Fett as the kind of recipient of the Darksaber. Here, I'm just going to hit with the Punishing One, just in case we, rich reward something, hit with the Imperial Interceptor, and then we kill him. Pretty nice. I mean, that was a nice showing against Boba Green, and we got there pretty nicely. I mean, it wasn't that close, to be honest. I mean, they had double Vaders and all this nonsense. We even had the resupply on turn 2, and we couldn't play anything. The turn that really flipped it around for us was the triple price on your head. Right, because we got double price in your head on your opponent, and then we double claim it with Bossk, which allowed us to set up for an extremely powerful Palpatine on the following turn, potentially, right? Like, that was exactly how we were able to kind of come back in that game. So really nice price in your head, guys. It's the most important bounty in the whole deck for sure. All right, so it looks like we're at Sabine Yellow. This looks like a fine hand. We have a 2-drop. We have some Imperial Interceptors, which works really well against, things like red 3s or A-Wings that might come down. I'm going to go and recess a Palpatine and one of the Interceptors. And we also have a Punishing One, which can potentially get in a ton of damage. I'm going to go ahead and just play a Viper Probe Droid. Looks like they have Surprise Strike, A-Wing, Poe Dameron, and another A-Wing. So Imperial Interceptor looking pretty fantastic here. We're just going to go ahead and claim initiative and see where we head in the future. Stolen Landspeeder, another Punishing One. Stolen Landspeeder, well, looks pretty decent here, honestly. Well, we don't really want to be taking additional damage in this matchup either. I think that Stolen Land Speeder isn't really that great in this spot. We're just going to go ahead and start us off with a punishing one, probably not ECL'd. Well, yeah, you know what? I actually will ECL out the punishing one. I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of their A-Wing immediately. And then we're going to hit for 3. And they're going to play a Night Owl Skirmisher. All right. And we're going to claim initiative. Here we could ECL or not ECL because we already ECL, but we could play a Jango Fett. I think that we just get down on Bounty Hunter's Quarry, to be honest, and kind of see what's going to happen with the game after we kind of Bounty Hunter's Quarry it. So let's go ahead and just do that and see what we get. This also readies up the punishing one, which is really, really nice. You can get another 3 damage in. They could potentially go ahead and, I don't know, play like an open fire to get rid of our probe droid or something, but this looks quite nice. We get to go out and kill, and then we get to play a super laser tech could be played here. And if we get that, we can play a Jango Fett to follow it up, or an interceptor. No, I think it's definitely the phase 3 Dark Trooper. This allows us to avoid the kind of couple damage that's going to be dealt from the Sabine this turn, which is really, really important. Hit for 3. And we're going to claim initiative. And if they want to hit my, my guy, then that's fine. Stolen Land Speeder, really not looking that great here, to be honest. But this, well, we can't really attack their Sabine, right? Because then we get an upgrade and they can just straight up deal a couple damage to this. So I think the plan here is to attack with a punishing one. I guess I could have attacked with a phase 3 Dark Trooper. Okay, they're just going to hit our phase 3 Dark Trooper here. Let's go ahead and just deploy Bossk and see what they decide to do here. We don't have any bounties in our hand, which is a little bit sad, but that's okay, I suppose. Let's go ahead and just kill Casca here. I don't want a chance of them just dealing a ton of damage to us or anything like that. Poe Dameron. Ooh, boy. All right. Well, we're going to get Jango Fett down because that is a potential chance to actually kill Poe Dameron. But that is a scary, scary card. Overwhelming Barrage is really, really nice here. Maybe it would have been better to just claim initiative, but I don't think that was the right play in that specific spot. Ideally, they're going to surprise strike, hit us for 9, deal 2 damage to Bossk. Oh my gosh, that is disgusting. Oh, they're going to deal 2 damage straight up to... Okay, they're just going to hit us for a bunch of damage. That is okay. To be honest, that is okay. Because what we could do here is Overwhelming Barrage, Bossk, deal 5-1. We do 1 and then 5. And then we kind of have a nice setup here if they don't have like any great follow-up to this. Oh, they have a 4 cost. And they hit 4 heroism cards. So they got reasonably lucky because they have like the surprise strikes in hand. I'm not sure how many cards, but yeah, 4 cost just finishes out the game. And look at that. Poe Dameron. Oh, Poe Dameron. It was so nasty. The Night Owl Skirmisher is fine. Really not that scary. But it was the Poe Dameron that really swapped over that game for us. The Casca Reeve was actually pretty nice as well for our opponent. It kind of made the phase 3 Dark Trooper a little bit awkward. We kind of had a little bit of an awkward hand. If we had another bounty or something, that could have been reasonable, I think, because we could have potentially double claimed something. But I think our hand shaped up a little bit awkward there at the end of it, unfortunately for us. But yeah, I mean, our opponent did some nice work. Maybe it would have been better to just not ECL at the punishing one, so we could ECL Jango Fett on like Sabine Wren. Maybe that's where the mistake was. But I mean, they had a nice hand. They had a pretty nice aggressive curve, and I mean, Poe Dameron just smacked us for 11 damage. Like, that was crazy. They didn't even need to hit the boss because they just had the 4 cost to follow it up. So pretty sweet from our opponent, not gonna lie. All right, on to our next game, and this one looks like a pretty bad matchup. It's double blue Iden, which means that we're not going to have a lot of things to put bounties on. Fortunately for us, our hand does not contain a lot of bounties, which is actually pretty advantageous for us. I actually don't think we resource the Maul or the Palp, and I think it's, Viper Probe Droid into punishing one, but look at this. Triple removal spell. I mean, that's kind of what we just have to deal with. Bounty Hunter's Quarry looking pretty mediocre here. I think that's what we resource. They're just going to kill the Viper Probe Drive. We're going to play a punishing one. If we had initiative, it would have been, kind of nice. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter because they just claim initiative on turn 1. But, this is part of the issue with control decks. Like, we have no bounties. We can't really do anything against our opponent. We're just going to play a Crosshair and, maybe get some value there. But they're just going to removal event, and then just kind of win the game, I think, is what's going to happen here. But this kind of gives you an example of what to kind of expect when you are in this spot against the opponent's control decks, right? Like, this is just kind of what you're going to find out that's like really good against us. Here, I suppose we can go on a resource at Yularen. It's not exactly extremely relevant. They're going to Entrenched. We're going to hit them for 2. And they're going to I Am Your Father. Yeah, they can deal 7 damage. They probably should have I Am Your Father first. I think that was a mistake on their part. I don't really think that was necessarily a fantastic play. We can get down a Maul, we can get some damage in, I suppose, with the Maul, which is decent. Because I probably wouldn't have, I would have let them draw some cards, I think. Okay, they're going to get probably like Super Laser Blast. I mean, we're going to go ahead and play them all. We're going to see what they decided to get. They're going to get down Iden. A little bit strange to get down Iden here. Because we can kill it with Maul. I guess we can kill it with Overwhelming Barrage as well. Well, they gotta I Am Your Father. No, no damage to Maul. Price on your head, punishing one, double Overwhelming Barrage. Overwhelming Barrage actually looks pretty nice here. So I'm actually gonna resource a Dark Trooper. We can kill Iden here and get in for some damage, which looks pretty nice. I think that was a little bit weird. They could have I Am Your Father. They're gonna Vigilance, defeat. Oh, they're gonna Mill Heal. Interesting. All right, we're gonna hit them for 2. I don't think milling is necessarily the play. They're gonna claim initiative. I don't think we could play another card because it's like pretty brutal. If they have a Super Laser Blast here, which they probably do. As I said, control decks pretty brutal for us to fight against. Not gonna lie. Let's go Super Laser Tech. Now we can go Stolen Land Speeder into Emperor Palpatine, which looks pretty nice. Stolen Land Speeder is really good in this matchup. This is the matchup that's like, ooh, love this. See what our opponent's doing here. Childson. Huh. They have 4 blue cards? Probably. Okay, they didn't play. Huh. All right. We're going to deal 2 to each. And we're going to get that Stolen Land Speeder. And now we have a board. They probably have a Super Laser Blast, though, so it's not really going to matter. But, I mean, what can you do? This is the entire game, right? There's a Super Laser Blast, as I mentioned. We're going to have to redeploy some threats. We're going to pass. And we're going to resource a price on your head. And they're going to Super Laser Blast us again. Or just, take down. That also works. Power the Dark Side. Play a Chrysanthemum. Play a Interceptor. They're going to restock. Sure. Get in some restocking. See what they decide to restock. Vigilance on 4 is pretty crazy. I haven't seen any new cards yet. This looks like just a straight up double blue Iden deck. There's some pretty interesting ones you can play. Looks like the chose Power the Dark Side, Super Laser Blast, Power the Dark Side. A little bit odd to use those specific ones, I suppose. I could have ECL'd out the Emperor Palpatine, I guess. That is one thing I could have done a little bit differently. I'm holding on to these Overwhelming Barrages because I felt like they were going to play like an Avenger or something. That's kind of what I was expecting. But get in with the 3 for the Imperial Interceptor because there's a lot more cards that actually kill it. Play a Phase 3 Dark Trooper. If they had a Super Laser Blast, they would have used it. So Not exactly extremely relevant. We're going to claim initiative here. Timely intervention go in the resource pile because it is a free ambush here. We're going to go ahead and overwhelming barrage, targeting the Phase 3 Dark Trooper, and just submit 5 damage to the system patrol craft, and we can try to hit in for 5. There is Avenger. Like I was worried about. Nothing much you can do about that, though. Search your feelings. Maybe for another Avenger. We're going to go ahead and play a Super Laser Tech. Claim initiative. And there's an Emperor Palpatine. Okay, interesting. We have enough resources to do both. I suppose, actually, I don't want to resource the rich reward. I did the math wrong. There we go. Because we have enough resources to do all 3 of these. So I'm just going to go ahead and attack in with the Super Laser Tech to start us off, because if they attack with Avenger, that's the one I'm going to want to defeat, is the Super Laser Tech. Oh, they have a Vigilance. Ooh, that's pretty bad for us. Mill defeat. Interesting. Let's go rich reward on the Avenger. Let's play an Emperor Palpatine. Deal 6. Ooh. And they have a Power of the Dark Side. Well, that's pretty rough. They had the exact removal spell that they needed in that spot. Man. It's brutal. It's brutal out here. For sure. Price in your head. No reason to resource it. I mean, we could have, but I mean, it gives us a bounty here. Yeah, we're just going to go ahead and ping the Avenger. What do we have left? We have a KRAYT Dragon left, right? KRAYT Dragon has not been played yet. No, we have a KRAYT Dragon left. That is hopeful. That is pretty hopeful. We also have an ECL left, too. I think if we dealt the damage with Emperor Palpatine, we've been in a better spot for sure. There's another restock. Let's just go ahead and play a Stolen Land Speeder. KRAYT Dragon's available. If we KRAYT Dragon, they're like dead. They're just straight up dead, right? Because like anything that... Oh, there's the KRAYT Dragon. Okay. Okay. That is a KRAYT Dragon. So we can deal 1 damage to the Stolen Land Speeder. And then we just claim initiative. And I'm going to do this in a way that we can actually go ahead and potentially play... Bounty Hunter's Quarry is not going to be useful at all here. So let's go ahead and deal 1 damage to the Stolen Land Speeder. Oh, wait. I should get the Stolen Land Speeder. That land speeder should be mine. No. That's unlucky. That is unlucky. All right. I mean, I guess we will go ahead and play our cards out, huh? Man. Yeah, we should have been able to go ahead and play the bounty. Man, that's so sad. All right, well, we're going to play a KRAYT Dragon, I guess. That's probably going to be game. I don't really see us winning after that. I don't know. We needed the extra power. Wait. And Super Laser Blast didn't even... Wait, Super Laser Blast should have hit them for 8, and we would have killed them again. And now this is a 5-4? All right, this is all wrong. I think I would have had a chance to win, actually. If KRAYT Dragon actually hit them for 8 and we had the Stolen Land Speeder, right? Because that was the idea, is I get the Stolen Land Speeder down, and then we KRAYT Dragon, and then that's kind of how we finish out the game. And if they don't deal with the Stolen Land Speeder, then, you know, then we hit them. But that was a little bit awkward at the end of the game there. I was expecting to get the Stolen Land Speeder back, but you could see kind of how difficult double blue is for us. It's not like it was an easy matchup, and definitely we were on the back foot the whole game, but I think we had a small chance with the KRAYT Dragon there. And that's why KRAYT Dragon's kind of in the deck, is it's like a super great late game card that just kind of finishes out the game. And if we were to make a sideboard, KRAYT Dragon would definitely go in it. A Stolen Land Speeder is a little bit wonky, I'll say, for sure, in Karabas, unfortunately for us. But anyways, that was an interesting matchup for sure. You got a little control matchup. Let's try one more before we finish out the video. All right, so I've been playing a couple matches and they got a little bit bugged, but hopefully this one will be working out for us. Looks like we're against Cad Bane Red. We're gonna keep this hand. We've been having some issues with the Stolen Land Speeder because usually you should be able to ping it twice and it should be fine. And I'm gonna go ahead and keep it in hand because I would like to be able to play it here and ping it twice. I'm going to get rid of the Emperor Palpatine and one of the Shore Troopers, keep one of the bounties in hand. Normally, we can go Stolen Land Speeder, ping it twice with the Bounty Hunter's Quarry, and we should be able to claim both bounties and get a 4-3 and, you know, something else. But we will see if that ends up working as intended. This is really nice, though, because we get to go Stolen Land Speeder, and they can't play anything to actually kill it or deal damage to it. So normally they'll play an Underworld card, which is pretty relevant. And we're going to go ahead and deal 1 damage to the Stolen Land Speeder. And then we get to go ahead and put a Bounty Hunter's Quarry on it. We should be able to get the claim on the bounty. It's a little bit bugged, though. Hopefully it works as intended. Let's go ahead and put a bounty on it and then pass. And, ooh, we have a super laser attack. Okay. I take it back. We're just going to go ahead and ECL out a super laser attack just to get the ramp into the well, do we actually want to ECL a super laser attack here? I was going to resource the timely intervention regardless. Oh, wow. They're going to mock Clunky back the Stolen Land Speeder. Get rid of the bounty. Nice. Okay. That's a pretty nice little option for our opponent. Nice. I mean, it's not like incredibly great because they kind of just bounce my card. So, I mean, it's not like amazing, but I mean, you know, it's fine. Timely intervention. We could keep one in hand and try to ambush something out. I think it's nicer just to resource it, though. And we can play the Stolen Land Speeder to try to kill it with a super laser tech. Yeah, Monclunky, go ahead and mess up my little bounty situation. Not bad. Dengar. They played Dengar. Nice. So we get a free resource. That ends up being pretty nice for us. I think what we do is we just go ahead and play a Bossk, an Overwhelming Barrage. I think that looks pretty nice for us. Yeah, Overwhelming Barrage. We deal 4-2, and then we can kill Lady Proxima, or we can just get in for 6. I actually think it's probably worthwhile to get in for 6 here, and then we can pass, and hopefully we draw something pretty nice. Can we pass? Doesn't seem like we can. Bugging out a little bit. Can we undo and then pass? There we go. Yularen, Shore Trooper, nothing too exciting. I mean, Shore Trooper's a 4-3 now, so reasonable. They're going to Bossk. Go ahead and deal 1. And then they're going to ambush. Okay, cool. We're just going to go ahead and kill Proxima here. Let's go ahead and play a Land Speeder or a Shore Trooper. I want to play the Land Speeder. I don't actually think we do at this point. Okay, we have an ECL Django potentially. That could be relevant, right? We can potentially kill off their Cad Bane here. Huh, okay, I like that plan. And we could, you know, ready up the Punishing One again. I think we go ahead and resource the Stolen Land Speeder at this point. It's kind of doesn't line up quite well, and the bounce ended up messing up our initial plans for the Stolen Land Speeder. I could have pinged it, but I wanted to go for a maximum value. Let's see. They have Bossk. They're gonna go ahead and probably kill my. Oh, they're gonna kill my Shore Trooper. That's interesting. Let's go ahead and get in with the Punishing One. I suppose I probably should have attacked with Bossk because they have the 1 damage if they play an Underworld card. but I kind of wanted to get in the damage with punishing one. No, I definitely should have attacked with Bossk there. Yeah. I guess we'll just do the damage to the punishing one at this point. They have a Xanadu Blood, huh? All right. Yeah, let's just go ahead and attack with Bossk now. They can kill off our punishing one with Tarkentown, which is kind of nice. They are going to Tarkentown. As expected, I'm going to go ahead and Imperial Interceptor the Xanadu Blood. And I think we might just play Price on Your Head on the Xanadu Blood. They can exhaust enemy unit or resource. They'd have to return another underworld. All right. Yeah, they decided not to do a whole lot, which is fine with me. I think I go ahead and resource this Price on Your Head. It's not really looking all that great at this point. If we play Overwhelming Barrage, we can't play Django in the same turn, so that's something we have to keep in mind. We do have ECL, so we can ECL out the Django. And it is nice to kill something with Django because we will be able to go ahead and... They played Pirated Starfighter. They're doing all these things where they're like, I'm going to bounce and do all this nonsense, but like, we're just hitting them for damage every turn. Like, they haven't actually developed a board yet. All right, there we go. That is nice for them. I'm going to claim initiative here because we can actually kill off the Starfighter and the Bossk with Overwhelming Barrage and then attack for 5 next turn. Then Cad Bane. We have a Django, a punishing one. Yeah, I think we just resource a Django at this point. So we kill a Pirated Starfighter and Bossk. So for 1. And then we get in for 5 damage. And yeah, they can deal 2, but I mean, we just get in some damage here, which is nice. Play out a punishing one. And they're going to claim initiative. And we have another Overwhelming Barrage, but that doesn't look super great here, unfortunately for us. Let's go ahead and just not resource anything. Kill the Xanadu Blood. Makes sense. Let's go Django Fett. See what they decide to do here. They attack base. Okay, they're going to attack base. I will just go ahead and play a Bounty Hunter's Quarry on the Cad Bane. And then let's see what they decide to do. Pirated Starfighter. Deal 2 damage. Bounce the Xanadu Blood. Interesting. I think I'll just claim initiative at this point. Cad Bane, or Xanadu Blood yet again. Comes back. They shouldn't be able to do damage because they only do that once per round. Whoops, I did not mean to do that. I did not mean to resource there. Whoops. I did not mean to resource. Let me just undo that real quick. But let's get some value with the Xanadu Blood, the Cad Bane going on. I like it. I like it for sure. We get to go Overwhelming Barrage. We can kill the Starfighter. I mean, they're going to get it for some damage, no doubt. For 1. Now we're going to get in some damage of our own. Potentially just kill them, right? If they don't have anything for Django Fett, we just kill them. All right, cool. Boom. Awesome. All right, well, I mean, our opponent had some nice things going with little Pirate Starfighter, the Dengar, you know, pinging some stuff and doing some nonsense for sure. The Moklunky on the Bounty Hunter's Quarried up Stolen Landspeeder really did mess up my kind of turn 1, turn 2 plans, which is a little bit unfortunate. That would have been pretty nice to get down, but I mean, we just kind of leveraged the triple Overwhelming Barrage that we drew and killed our opponent. I mean, Overwhelming Barrage is a pretty good card. We didn't do anything too crazy. Oh, I forgot about the timely interventions. Oh my gosh. That could have been relevant, actually. I mean, it's not like we were really wanting to ambush anything, but I did forget about them in that last game. These time interventions are really good, but it's always awkward on your online because like the resource pile is over here. You know, when you're in person, your resources are sitting in front of you. I played a little bit of set 2 myself so far, and it's a lot easier to remember the smuggle. But anyways, let's talk about the deck and a few things that maybe changed, maybe were good, etc. All right, so Bossk bounties, what did we enjoy? What was great? What are some things that I think could change? The first thing that I want to mention is there is a card. It's called Trandoshan Hunters. It is a 6/4 overwhelm, but if your opponent has a bounty, it becomes a 6/5 when it enters, and it's a 5 resource play. That is a card that's not currently working on KRAYT, but it is a card that is exceptional for this deck. It's essentially this deck's Steadfast Battalion. It has overwhelm. It comes down to 7 power, but you don't need Bossk out for it to be good. And or for it to be 7 powered units, which is really, really relevant because you can do things like, you know, Bossk dies, you put a bounty on something, it becomes a 7/5 overwhelm, and you just ECL it out, right? Overall, I think the few cards that are kind of on the weaker side of things, Crosshair, I tried to make it work, you know, try to maybe clean up some bounties. I think that card, you know, depending on the matchup, it can be good, but we didn't really see it be all that amazing. I thought Django was, well, in certain situations, it's insane, and in other situations, it's mediocre. And we didn't really actually see it get to pop off in any of the games. Like, we didn't get to see, like, a bounty, overwhelm, and just knock something out, because we were actually just ECLing out super laser techs a lot of the time, and dark troopers, or whatever it was, because the power of turn 1 ramp price in your head into turn 2 super laser tech ECL Bossk deploy is exceptionally powerful. You can even follow that up with like a Bounty Hunter's Quarry double, you know, claim, which we actually did end up double claiming a Bounty Hunter's Quarry in that first game that we played, that you got to see the true power of the bounties. And honestly, if you're able to have that type of curve, it's absurd, right? That's a turn 2 Bossk deploy, which is really nice. But there are some games that I think we might have been over eager on ECLing out the super laser attacks or something like that, and maybe we should have waited on like a Django Fett to get that big value term. And there was that one game against Iden Blue, which I think I should have ECL'd out the Emperor Palpatine, which would have been really, really nice to get in some extra damage. I think we would have won that game if I had done that, and then the cards worked properly at the end. I think one thing about this deck that you could change up a little bit is, instead of going with like the little bit of stolen land speeder kind of early game nice combo, is to add a little bit more top end, because there's a lot of ramp in this deck, right? We have the triple price and you're a triple super laser tech. You can even take out the 3 stolen land speeders and go with like the triple resupply as well, and then add in some more top end. The stolen land speeder, if it high rolls, it's really, really good. If it's kind of middle of the game, or you're against an aggro deck, it can just be pretty bad, and you saw that there. But against like Iden Blue, for example, it's really good. And if you are able to play at turn 1 and ping it down, then it's also really good, especially if you're able to put like a Bounty Hunter's Quarry on it, or like a Rich Reward or something like that. Here's the thing with this card. One of the reasons why it was a little bit buggy or awkward to play in KRAYT is that it is a little bit buggy right now, and it's not working properly, as you saw with the Iden Blue game, where we pinged it down and then they got the 4/3, which is not exactly how it's supposed to work. And part of that is because if you saw on KRAYT, the discard pile, the upgrades that you're playing go to your discard pile, and the game, or the way it's coded, is that they think the bounties are your cards rather than, you know, my cards. Like if I play a price on your head, it should go to my discard pile when it enters the discard pile. But regardless, we saw a little bit of bugs with stolen land speeder. That card is potentially more of a sideboard option for Bossk, rather than a main deckable card. I think that if you just go full on the ramp plan, I think it can be pretty amazing with like KRAYT Dragons, Palps, and Mulls, and as you saw there. I've been messing around with this list a decent amount, and yeah, there are some changes I've made and some changes I've added, some things I've messed around with, but overall the core of it, you know, overwhelming barrages, super laser techs, price on your heads, early plays, getting down that early boss, getting a Bounty Hunter's Quarry. Like, you guys saw how powerful Bounty Hunter's Quarry was, and depending on the matchup, again, that could be a really powerful card. If you're going to change things around, though, just make sure you have enough hits for Bounty Hunter's Quarry, because if you don't hit anything, ooh boy, is that a bad card. I'll say that much. With that said, guys, hopefully you enjoyed, and hopefully you enjoyed the Bossk bounties. I have a bunch more decks to come and test out with set 2, and I will be doing a bunch more videos in the future, including a set review of a lot of the rares and legendaries, and, you know, a limited review and all that stuff. So stay tuned, guys, and I will see you all for a video